To turn off, please press the button in the top right corner. I'm just reading the instructions. They're very explicit on how to turn on and off.
I like that they're taped to the remote. Can't lose them.
No. Things. Welcome to the data meetup, guys. I'm glad you made it out. It feels like summer outside. I went outside and I was wearing a sweater and I was like, this is a bad choice, but I didn't want to go back and change. So now I'm just hot. We're glad you could make it out tonight. Ayla's upstairs, but as always, we'll thank Recursion. They provide a great meeting space and food. Give Recursion a round of applause. Ayla shows up in about 15 minutes, so she's great. We're here every other month. We'll go through announcements, and then we'll introduce our speaker. He said he didn't want to show us slides. He just wanted to talk, so I'm just going to hand the mic over to him, and we'll have a nice little discussion. This meetup, the data engineering meetup, we do have once a month. We have it this month in Salt Lake, and then the other month is at Vivint in Lehigh. Next month, Joe Reese will be speaking. Nice. I know, he said he had a talk he needed to vet before he gave it to 5,000 people in Sweden. So if you want to get a free talk, that would cost people a couple $1,000s.
And he's good.
I know, it's Joe.
Yeah, you can heckle him a little bit too.
It'll be next month in at Vivint. We have this meetup is part of the Forge Utah Foundation. Forge Utah is a nonprofit where we just are a bunch of nerds talking about nerdy things. We have several meetups. This one next week we have the MLOps meetup where we're talking about. We have somebody who does open source at Red Hat talking about how they do open source AI hosting, their tools, their contributions and strategies for doing that on the cloud. I told him, he volunteered, but I told him he had to talk about what he did for work. He's like, that was what I was planning on. I said, good for you, because that's what I want you to talk about. That's the other meetup I run. We have a bunch of other meetups, but that's the other one that I'm like, I know that's happening. But it's a great Slack. There's a Slack community. You just go to our website, forgeutah.tech. You're starting a meetup, though, because Wes has you having it at my job, so.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Next Thursday is Jay's meetup.
We're talking about AI-driven development. So how to use AI is actually build software.
Is that on meetup.com?
It's actually on Luma.
It's on Luma, but if you go to Forge Slack, we have a local events channel, and I believe it's posted in there as well.
It is. And I'll put another posting.
Where is this going to be at?
At the School AI building.
School AI building. Where is that?
It's in Lehigh off Triumph Boulevard. It's on the corner of Triumph Boulevard and Ashton Boulevard.
Oh.
So you know where the Vivint building is? If you just keep going down the street. It's right there. Still pretty close to the train stop as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was looking at,
It's 100%. It's still just, there's still, it's not as close, but it's still on the same street that the front runner station's on.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah.
This is next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Yes.
Perfect.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.?
We also have a jobs channel on our Slack if anybody's looking for jobs, and a jobs wanted channel. Jobs wanted is where we ask you to, you can put your resume, say I'm looking for work, etc. I've gotten job offers from doing that. I know I'm the exception because I like run meetups and stuff, so people see me a lot. But I get jobs from coming to meetups and participating in Slack. They also have the jobs channels where they post active jobs. We've had quite a few jobs being posted there recently. People are hiring, so the job market's not completely dead. But feel free to join, and that's one of the channels you get automatically added to. And we'll let Jordan go ahead. Oh, Jake, what do you?
We've got another open position at Autodesk.
Oh, Autodesk.
Yeah, so there's an open position for a senior principal data engineer. They'll help oversee a number of data teams. And then in a couple days, we're going to be opening up another, just, I hesitate to say junior principal engineer, a principal engineer that's going to be beating out one of our other data teams.
Nice.
And so if you're interested in that, 100% remote, come talk to me, and we'll go from there. Cool.
Jake's cool. He's speaking in August. He said, I'm going to speak as far away as I can schedule it. So
I did not say that.
I know you did not. I said you can choose any month, and he said August.
Actions speak louder than words.
It's fine. I'm just teasing him a little bit. It was, he speak every year. He spoke in July last year, so we got to let him have a year. So I'll hand this over to Jordan. You can,
Awesome.
just for the recording, let's
Yeah.
give him a round of applause. He took a red eye from Brew last night.
I did. Yeah, and I'm shockingly very awake. Give me about an hour, and it's probably good we didn't have beer because that might have put me to sleep. Little bit about me. I've been in the data world my entire career. Started at American Express. I run my own business now for all my speaking engagements and book writing. And then in my day job, I'm basically Chief AI Officer for Agile One. And yes, basically, I was in Peru up until yesterday, delivered a keynote at their Data and AI Summit. And next week, I'm in, I guess you could say my Peru talk. It's the same one I'm giving in Brazil next week. But Peru had a few hundred, Brazil has 4,000. So it was definitely the lead up to it, that's for sure. My background, like I said, is data through and through. I helped pioneer the entire field of data literacy starting in 2016. Tonight, though, as I was thinking about what's best to present about beyond the algorithm, being human in the age of AI and everything like that, I'm combining it with, I had a private meeting with a speaker from Davos a few weeks ago, and the entire thing she presented on were the top 10 AI insights that came from Davos. So we're going to go through those while tying it to being human and what we're seeing in the world. I work from home. I live up in Bountiful. Someone asked where I'm from. I live in Bountiful. 5 kids, so a nice big family. But I work remotely, and I have a superstar wife who lets me travel and speak all over the globe. But that's why I take red eyes, is so I'm not gone as much.
I don't blame you.
But
I think you're not being an airport.
oh my gosh, yes, especially LAX. Don't get me started on LAX. I might hate that more than anything else on this planet is the LAX airport. Okay, so one thing you're going to learn from me very, very quickly. How many of you like awkward silence? And don't raise your hand. I know you don't. I don't believe you. Liars, both of you. The reason I thought it would be better to have an interaction is we will get so much more out of it if we share thoughts from all of us. So I will ask a lot of questions, and if you don't answer, I will just stare at you and create awkward silence until someone feels awkward enough to speak. Okay? So with that in mind, are we all going to talk to me tonight and to each other?
There's only one mic and he's holding it, so you're not going to be on the recording.
Yeah, you don't have to be on recording. I don't even have to say your name. I can repeat answers for the recording. But let's start off. When you saw the title of this meetup, what made you want to come to one like this that's talking about beyond the algorithm, right? And let me add a little to that. So when you think about the world today, we don't see a lot of ROI from AI in the traditional sense, but there is a lot of ROI from it happening. 90 to 99% of people are not data and AI professionals. So when organizations deploy these things, adoption rates are low, deployments stink, even though the tools work great. So why would you sign up to come tonight to discuss beyond the algorithm, being human in the age of AI? What made you want to come to this?
I'm in charge. I asked you to speak.
You did.
I don't count. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
My first thought was, the AI has been rapidly devaluing most of the skills that took me many years to develop.
Yeah.
So, and to me, it seems like the direction AI is going is actually not what I envision to be a good direction.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, there's so much more disinformation, misinformation, and we know that the AIs can be data poisoned very effectively. So you can be manipulated very easily. And, so there are all these problems that I see are coming.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not quite like Terminator style fighting back, but so as being a person, how do you, actually anticipate what needs to be done?
Yeah,
Address the issues, right?
you're not wrong. And I actually don't think it was AI that started it. I think it was social media, right? And so there was a book that came out, Stolen Focus. And by the way, I'm going to mention probably a lot of books. I read or listen to about 2 to 4 books at a time, and I pound through books because I think knowledge is so important. The first book I'll talk about is Stolen Focus. It's by Johann Hari, and it talks about the dopamine hacks that social media has done to your brain. Now, I have 3 teenagers. How long do you, and this comes from the book, how long do you think a teenager can focus on one task?
2 minutes.
90 seconds. We laugh at that. What do you think adults are? 3 minutes. We're not much better, right? In fact, I was at Auburn University recently. I partner with their data science program, and I had someone who was with me who also partners with them, and he brought up a good point. The class was like an hour and 15 minutes. Do you think college students have the attention span to last that long? No. Not really, right? And so we're watching, to your point, so many things be devalued and shifted. Here's something, when people ask what's something people don't know about you, I love poetry. I love to write poetry, and I read poetry. Why do you think I think that matters in the age of AI?
Poetry is for people.
It's people, it's creativity, right? The more you, in my latest book that came out, and I'm going to recommend a lot of books. I'll try to avoid my own, but I had a book that just came out at the beginning of this month, and I actually worry, and you can study this, it's out there. So when you go to, I love working out. So when you go to the gym, it can take months and months and months to hit the goals you want. You take a month off, what happens? Down. What do you think's happening to our brains right now? We have to work out the brain, i.e. write poetry, I journal, I do all those things, so that, 1, I love it, but 2, so my brain doesn't lose its abilities. Yeah?
This kind of ties into how I'm looking to go back to school. I just finished data analytics last year, and I've kind of just been working on some small projects here and there. But I believe continuous learning is very important, especially if you want to gain success.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm looking at diving into data science, machine learning, and fundamentals of AI.
Absolutely.
Especially now that it's such a growing field.
Well, and we'll talk about that. Last year's World Economic Forum, not 2026. In fact, I can read them to you. I have them pulled up. The top 10 fastest growing skills by 2030. 10 of them, how many do you think were human related? Any guesses?
I don't know. I really need plumbers, so all of them.
No, yeah, I agree with that. In fact, you can see the data on that right now. Those are the fastest growing fields. Rightfully so, right? Although we'll talk about the whole Davos this year where the current AI bubble is there. The next one they think is robotic AI. So we have to pay attention to that. So out of the top 10 fastest growing skills, number 1 was AI and big data, not shocking. Number 2 is networks and cybersecurity. 6 of the next 8 are human. Curiosity, creativity, resilience, agility, analytical thinking, all human. So when we think about engineering, particularly when it comes to AI, we were talking about this before we came in here, and that is organizations really, really struggle at measuring true ROI from AI, right? Far too many companies right now are buying AI and trying to fit it into old ways of doing things. That should not be the case. Your meetup is a very good one. If I wasn't in Brazil, I might be there. Because what organizations need to realize is how do you develop better or partner with it to create new. That's where creativity and all this human stuff comes in. So let's start going through some of these AI insights from Davos. We'll tie it into the human element. Oh, before we do, one thing I do want you to be thinking about is we have so many people who are competing, human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. You hear the term human in the loop. It's okay if you use it. I'm going to give you a new one tonight because I think human in the loop is too vague. It's too ambiguous on what it means. So I have created a new formula. It's in my book, and it's called engineered intelligence, right? Where you're 2 parts data and AI, 2 parts human. What 2 parts human do you think I'm talking about? And one of them is the most important part of this formula. We'll explain why. Well, part of it, IQ, and what's the other Q that's out there? EQ. That is the most important one right now. Is that, yeah?
What is EQ?
Emotional intelligence, self-awareness, reading people, reading situations, those sort of things. And we've been talking, that's been in the news or in media and books for a very long time. But it hasn't been in the world of AI until now. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So number one of the top 10 AI insights is that AI becomes geopolitics, right? And some areas are doing this. Mustafa Suleyman, who's Microsoft AI CEO, who just actually they changed and redid his job, he founded, who knows what company Mustafa founded? Google bought them. DeepMind. Yep, Mustafa founded DeepMind, they bought it, and then he started a new company. He's now at Microsoft. Here's another book, The Coming Wave. Mustafa is very realistic when it comes to where AI is going with humans. He talks about, I think it's South Korea, where 40% of the workforce is Samsung. And he talks about how instead of having sovereign countries, you could have sovereign companies. It's a very interesting thought process. I'm not sure we'll ever get there, but if you watch the frontier models right now, that's kind of what's going on. But in that section, when I was in this meeting, it wasn't just me, there was about 25 of us talking with the speaker. The topic that came up in geopolitics was the word trust. How many humans trust AI? You brought it up, right? There's disinformation. 2 of the top ways that AI is being used now, we know one is AI slop. Number 2 is even worse. Does anybody know?
I was going to say misinformation like you were saying.
Yep, that's part of it, but number 2 is worse.
Therapy?
Porn.
Oh, yeah,
AI porn.
that's the thing that Sam Altman denies.
Yep. And so those are 2 main things happening around. So trust is hard. Disinformation, social media. If you remember Cambridge Analytica and the first election in 2016 with President Trump, what we have to look at is trust. Another book, I told you I'm going to recommend a lot. Just connect with me. I'll tell you all of them. Who knows who Jimmy Wales is? Everybody does. They just don't know. Founder of Wikipedia. And did you know that was his second attempt at an online encyclopedia? But who remembers, when I was going to my undergrad, using Wikipedia was forbidden. Now it's actually seen as an excellent source of information. His book is called The 7 Rules of Trust by Jimmy Wales. It's short, it's a great read, because when you think about Wikipedia, you had to create trust. When we think about being human in the age of AI, trust is probably the most valuable commodity that you can have. And he has a saying in there that I really like that goes something like this. I'll probably mess it up. You fill up a bucket of trust with drops. Takes a long time to get it. How easy is it to lose trust in data and AI? Very. All it takes is one hallucination that is misused and people don't use it. So trust is huge. So one of the things that we need to be thinking about when we're building AI solutions, engineering them, et cetera, is how do you create trust? Right? Organizationally, you could deploy something all you want, but if they don't trust it, they won't use it. This is where data literacy actually came into play as I was starting to build it. Number 2, this one is super interesting. Gen Z prefers AI managers. Why do you think that is? It's very interesting. Number 1, trust is a big issue. Number 2, Gen Z, younger generations want AI managers. Any ideas why? This is of 300,000 surveyed. 100%. 90% think bosses aren't fair. 90%. 270,000 out of 300,000 did not think bosses, like human bosses, are fair. Okay, it's very interesting that they're trusting. And now, I want us to take a step back. When I think of data and AI, we have to look at the whole big picture. Right, my oldest is 18, my youngest is 9. My 9 has never lived in a world without an iPhone. They are so digitally literate right off the bat. You give them an iPhone, they'll hack their way through it and be playing games within 5 minutes. So for them, the system is fair. Even though we know there's bias in things, I don't really worry about hallucinations because we can critically think through them. You know what hallucinates more with data than AI? People. I share that all the time. I'll ask a room.
Like that 80% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Absolutely. There's lies, damn lies, and well, it's 60% of the time. It works every time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, number 3. This is a very interesting one. And so when you think about your organization's investment in AI, the investment in AI must match, I've got to word it right. Okay, data investment must match AI investment. You have to invest in data as much as you're investing in AI. Why? Garbage in, garbage out. Right? And the moment you don't, you're flipping it. So trust is gone. Humans don't want to use it, etc. Number 4, and this talks about where us as humans really can apply human elements towards AI. There's an 85% opportunity out there to digitize something. What do you think it is? We've mentioned it already. Emotional intelligence. If you think of the frontier models today, like OpenAI, Gemini, all of them, they digitized pictures, images, things like that. The question was asked at Davos. I thought this was interesting, and it is a trick question. If you heard me talking about it earlier, don't answer. Go ahead.
Wouldn't that make them less fair?
Depends.
If you
Yeah.
digitize the EQ, wouldn't that make them less fair?
It could.
I mean,
I think it depends on how you do
if
it.
they were empirical, they would be fair, but they're not empirical.
Yeah.
They're generative, so by default.
They're not fair.
Right, I know, I'm just saying, like, with your statistic that the Gen Z wanted an AI manager because they
It could.
see them as fair.
It could flip that.
But if you bring in the human, like, EQ, oh, I'm gonna make an exception for this employee.
Yeah.
Because of their circumstance, like, that seems like it might make them less fair, actually.
Well, go ahead, and then we'll go you two, and then I'll talk about that a little.
I guess I would
No,
argue,
it's a great question.
I would argue a lot of bosses don't have great AQ, that's why they're not trusted.
Yep, 100%. That's one. Go ahead.
Say, where we're applying this EQ, I think is a little fuzzy, right? Are we saying that our AI is smart enough to acknowledge that humans have emotions, and somebody's in an agitated state, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
address them differently than if they're in a more calm state?
Yeah.
Like if that's what we're talking about, then yeah, that is what AI is. If it's I can manipulate my AI boss with a sob story to get 6 weeks vacation, I think that's a little different.
Yeah, so
And I guess that was sort of my question is like, how do we
Yeah.
build that,
it's interesting.
those guardrails into this?
Yeah.
When we bring in an EQ, how do we define
Yeah.
what guardrails are we bringing?
I think it's like security in more than anything, right? Like we've got a bot that at work that I tried to manipulate. I told it either you or your replacement will do this thing that it definitely shouldn't have done. And like when we start thinking about, well, what's the difference between that and just something EQ? It's really just the security.
Yeah, you're exactly right. These are the things that it talked about. It said human intuition, judgment and decision making, cultural knowledge, which I think is very important. All frontier models are basically built, well, now China has gone gangbusters, right? But before, they were all built in the US, usually by white males, right? And so that does something there. And then lived experiences, right? So not necessarily the emotional side fully on things like that, but it's the guardrails, 100%. Now, a part of this question came up within the 85% opportunity is, which country do you think is going to win? This came up there. China or the US? It's a trick question.
Both?
Neither. The answer at Davos was Africa. Now, Africa and the Middle East and India have been talked about becoming the global epicenter of economics for about 4 or 5 years. There are reasons it said this. Uganda has built a model called Sunflower. You can check it out with more EQ in it, like a button I believe you turn on for EQ. The other side of it is go study Uganda's VC funding right now. It doesn't have the red tape. It can build infrastructure from the ground up, and you're watching the investments go there. I partner a lot with South Africa. I promise you the skills are there. So it is very interesting that, like, so when they talked about the main areas, China we know is China. The US is too open, they said, and Europe is too closed.
What do you mean too open?
We're too free. Like, Mustafa talks about this in The Coming Wave, I believe. We will sit here and say, they're doing it, so we should do it. That's not the right answer when it comes to AI. If we don't do it, someone else will. Europe is way too closed. You can't really do anything there, right? The European Union Act is huge. It's going to infect companies all over the globe. I don't know if you've seen lately, though, they're now potentially pushing it back further. The AI omnibus over there has basically said, hold on, we might not be ready for this. So I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if Africa's going to win, but that's what the answer came up, because they're looking to digitize that human side. Bullet point number 5 from this is, how long do you think the lifespan is for a CAIO? Now, the way they talked about it is this is not a negative, and you'll see why when I describe it. 3. And it's not because they're not being trusted, but a good CAIO will come in, get it going, implement it, and then leave it to the company. I don't think that's the right way a CAIO should operate. I think that's going to get them in trouble the moment they leave and a company thinks they can take it over. I think we've seen multi-agent AI delivering results. That's one we could easily get. Number 7, how long do you think the horizon is before you receive ROI on AI right now? And I'm talking legit enterprise ROI. And this really frustrates enterprises.
5 years?
It's 1 to 2 to get anything really going, right? Enterprises are sitting here thinking, oh, we invested in generative AI. We should be getting something from it. Yeah, maybe in your shadow AI or in some of the smaller productivity gains, but to make substantial gains, it's different. I think the field that you might start to see this hit faster than any of them. Any guesses? Finance and banking, investment banking, right? When an algorithm can sit here agentically beat any human's mathematics, you watch it take over. JP Morgan, and we were talking about this before, JP Morgan is investing heavily in this. I'm on the board of an AI startup. Maria and I both know it's inventing new math, and you can watch it do it in front of you. This AI is building algorithms that humans cannot compete with. They're looking at partnering with JP Morgan. Now, data scientists in investment banking, yes, they should be worried about their jobs, right? All right, now we got a few more, and then we're going to talk about the human and how to be more human, and then we'll just open it up for nice Q&A.
Can I make a comment?
Oh, of course.
So when we're talking about ROI right now, but the way I see it, everything's super subsidized right now.
Yeah, it is.
So what is your real, true ROI?
So yeah, well, so if we're talking ROI from the frontier models, 100%. Like, there is an AI bubble. And anybody who doesn't understand the circular investment that is happening, how many of you have seen how many people Oracle is going to lay off? It's like 30,000. Do you know why? Not for AI. It's because they've spent too much on AI. They have to make it up. Meta is doing the exact same thing. Right? We've already seen layoffs happen, and I think some of those in the fall or winter were more directed at the overhiring of COVID than AI, even though they were saying AI. They just made mistakes over hiring. It happens all the time. But the ones happening right now for some of these bigger companies, subsidizing everything, overinvestment, I think OpenAI has what, 1.7 trillion in commitments, and they make like 20 billion a year? Like, it's not a magic crystal ball that this is just going to work. Even if they were to go IPO, I think they said their valuation's like 870 billion. That's not enough to cover all your commitments. That's a big deal. Right? But so they talk about this bubble right now is here. The next bubble is robotic AI, which is $1 trillion by 2030. Right? So we're already seeing it, right? I think there was at NVIDIA, was it displayed? They had the little AI dogs that were protecting data centers. It's like, what are you going to do, put a gun on top of a, you can't do that. So I don't know what a robot dog's going to do, but. Yeah, exactly. So key growth areas within this, and we will see this, right? Robotics and automation for sure. Remote surgery, okay? Industrial safety, quality inspection. So when this AI bubble will pop, eventually then it will move on to the physical AI bubble. And the way I describe it, when people are like, does it bother me or worry me? Well, yeah, when bubbles pop, bad things happen, like recessions. But when the internet bubble popped, the internet didn't go away. The power that underlined the internet is still here today, right? You're connected over there. All of our phones. Can you imagine right now? Have you seen what's happened in Cuba? What happened in Cuba? Does anybody know? The whole country, I believe, went out. Can you imagine living your life without the internet? Okay, so the power of the internet didn't go away, and the power of AI is not going away. Right? There's bubbles around agentic AI right now. Agentic still isn't cheap, right? It's such a bubble. Machine learning has, for some reason, been forgotten, predictive modeling, even though that's one of the most powerful ones you can use. And everybody's like, I prompted something and I got it. That's not how you build an AI ecosystem that succeeds. Bullet point number 9, and then we'll go to bullet point 10, which will dovetail more into the human side. Bullet point number 9 was quantum. And what it talked about, there are 20 billion plus devices needing upgrade just to be able to use it, I believe. NIST standards, regulators, execution is the bottleneck. Companies need to act the same with quantum as they do with AI. In AI, they don't just try it out, they just do it. And that was Accenture who said that one. So one thing they said there, and it's super interesting. I'm not sure when we'll get to a consumable quantum. Maybe AI will help the math on that. But they said at Davos, it needs to be a boardroom agenda item. Very interesting that is such a hot topic at Davos when we're still not seeing great ROI from AI. And these are some of the biggest speakers on the planet, right? So it's very interesting. All right, and then number 10, which is so near and dear to me, is, why would I say it's near and dear to me? What do you think the 10th insight is when my whole space is data literacy, you're part of it? It's the AI skills gap. 90 to 99% of people didn't go to school for data and AI. Let the show of hands in here. How many of you went to school for a background in mathematics, statistics, AI specific? Anybody? Only 3, and we're all in. Yeah, a few of you, right? So that's where we're going to now dive more into the human side with everything. So in the 90s, they talked about how learn Excel to stay employable. Now it's all about learning AI. Satya Nadella's warning was, AI risks becoming a bubble unless benefits spread beyond big tech and wealthy economies. AI skills are the new pathway to jobs and mobility. AI skills are a new baseline for employability. 92% see gains when trained, but only 14% use AI daily. So this is my whole space. Like my book that came out at the beginning of this month is called Data and AI Skills, and it's written for the masses, not written for engineers and things like that. So let's talk about being a little bit more human in the age of AI. Share a few things, since I know we're already on the half hour. I'll try and go through this quick, and then we'll just open up. We're good?
No time limit.
Oh, good. Well, don't say that. Okay.
We do have a time limit. It's how long we're allowed to be in the building. So
We'll just sleep over. All right, so a few things I want to talk about in an organization. So think about where you work to really I spend a lot of my time when I'm talking to organizations is they want to, I don't need to teach you how to build an AI model, right? That's pretty simple now for an organization, especially large enterprises, right? You get them off the shelf, you can deploy it how you want. I'm brought in to help them understand how to scale it and how to bring it out. So there's one key thing we're going to go through. I think it's 6 bullet points real quick. That is a cognitive shift that has to happen with the people that you work with. Okay, and that cognitive shift, it's all about mindset on some of these things. Number one of the most forgotten spaces in the AI realm is change management. If you build an AI solution and you do not deploy a change management solution with it, good luck. And that is not just who gets what when. You better audit your skills in your organization. You better audit how comfortable and confident people are. It doesn't matter how great the tool is. If you build it in a way and people don't know how to use it, it'll be like Microsoft on steroids, or it'll be like Excel on steroids and no one touches it. Right? They'll just go right back to their spreadsheets. And so number one, it's the change management. Number two, we want to be teaching people that AI is a colleague, not a replacement. I was asked while we were in the pizza cafeteria area, I forget the specific question. Whoever asked it, please, I think you might have. Are people fearing it? Was that what did you ask it? Yeah. It depends on my audience. You've got some who, especially I'd say in the data and AI space, put their head in the sand and say, nothing will happen to my job. Not the right frame of mind, right? A few years ago, people were saying AI can't do X, Y, Z, and now does X, Y, Z better than any human can do it. Okay. Number two, when I am with non-data and AI professionals, you better believe they're scared for their life with their job, some of them. They're overwhelmed. They have AI fatigue. These are the things that will impede AI from being successful in an organization. That's why change management, AI literacy, the skills gap matters so much. The technology is wonderful. I love AI. But the reality of it is adoption rates are going to be low unless you give them that feeling that they're secure. Next, we also need to move away from being process-oriented to outcome-oriented. There's a very big thing that happened with Claude recently that impacted junior attorneys. Does anybody know what it was? What is it? You're smiling. Co-work. Why? Why did it impact junior attorneys so much?
Because the only thing about junior lawyers were doing is reading all the papers and getting what is required. AI does it more better and more faster.
Yeah, so essentially, Claude would give a plugin to like these attorney softwares, and the attorney software could do it, right? Claude just said, screw that, we're gonna do it ourselves, and launched co-work and allowed the plugin to go to everybody. Now, junior attorneys could charge $2,000 an hour or whatever to review a contract, and in 4 hours, you've made a heck of a lot of money. Now, guess what? Co-work can come in and be done in 10 minutes. It's no longer how long that process took, it's the outcome. So, like law firms, consulting, really have to restart thinking of how to do things differently. This is why you can't fit the old within the new. The new is too powerful in some of these things. That's why when people talk about what this is impacting, it's white collar, right? And that's why blue collar, you're seeing a rise in those jobs. We have to get away from being fully, which is sad. My second book was called Be Data Driven, but I wrote that a few years ago. We have to be context driven. Impact and context. If you want your AI to succeed, people have to understand context. This is why when you say, where does the human fit in? With context. All right? Generative AI has AI sycophancy. What is AI sycophancy? Anybody?
Well, the AI wants to please you.
It's a people pleaser. It is a yes person, right? You could go at it and say, you gave me the wrong answer. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, you forgot this. Oh, you're so smart. It's trying to make you feel good, even though some of that might be just total bullshit, right? It validates. Yep. And if people do not have AI literacy and it validates misinformation, that gets carried with it. So this is why and you brought up the perfect point. If you do not have guardrails around emotional intelligence, you're just going to feed the problems that we have. Next one down is orchestration and curation. All right, I've got my friend. Does anybody follow Sadie St. Lawrence? If not, highly recommend it. She wrote a book called Becoming an AI Orchestrator. Her business partners with NVIDIA, which is pretty fun. But I love the symphony, right? What does a conductor do? Is the conductor the one up there playing all the instruments?
No, the conductor's the one who leads the orchestra.
Brings it together, right? And it helps them play it right. So when you think about all of our jobs, what we're doing, we need to orchestrate for all the masses at our organizations to be able to make the music, right? Finally, you innovate with it. And I think that's one of the coolest things that you could do with it. I use AI often to be my partner when I ideate, when I'm learning, etc. Now, how do we close the skills gap? And then we can just have a nice free-for-all for conversation. Well, I'll talk a little bit, one more topic. Couple things to be thinking about when we're trying to close the skills gap around maybe the tools and the production we're trying to get out of our AI is number one, Well, let's ask Autodesk. How many AI professionals would you say, I know you have a big company, it's quite large. How many would you say your entire company would have?
Oh, everybody thinks they're an AI professional.
There we go, okay.
So, but how many actually use it, have really good skills at it?
Yeah.
Probably quite a few, but not enough.
That's awesome. Not enough, right? And I think there's two things we want to be thinking about. Apprenticeships and reverse mentorships. Who has heard of that term, reverse mentorship? Usually you have like a VP mentoring a director. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, this is what John C. Brown preached maybe 10, 15
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, it's not a new term, right? And it's, you take the younger generations who are more digitally literate to mentor executives, right? That's where we start to see value as apprenticeships, and you're mentoring up the chain. I report, in my day job, not my personal business, I report right to the president of the company. That guy does not know AI. I mean, he's got a good grasp, but there's a reason he hired me to build the AI. I teach him about the AI, he teaches me about the industry. Couple things that I want to make sure we also do is it's not a one-size-fits-all. So when you build something, you have to be thinking of how each layer uses it. If I'm building AI solutions for marketing, that's vastly different than building for sales, even though they relate together. I call it an AI ecosystem. Sales wants marketing to bring them leads. Marketing wants to give them leads. We drive revenue, etc. So we create personalized learning paths, and then we create learning velocity, the speed at which we can learn. But we talked about this. Attention spans are very, very short. Do not build 1, 2, 3 hour trainings. Micro learnings, 5 to 10 minutes at most. Number one, how many of you do not have a busy job? Nice. But most of the time I say that and then I joke, you're probably with coworkers, so don't raise your hand. We all have busy jobs, right? So we don't want to put an hour in the calendar. It's 5-minute learning here, 10-minute learning there, sitting by their side for 5 minutes, etc. So let's talk at the very end here, and then we can just open up for any questions you might have. We talked about the top 10 fastest growing skills. I'm now going to read them to you. And this goes right to the question about being human in the age of AI. Number 3 is technological literacy, which I love because I'm the data literacy guy. Number 4, creative thinking. One of the fastest growing skills by 2030. Why?
Use AI as a partner.
Use it as a partner, creative solutions. And I'm going to tell you now, as much as it pains a data guy to say, data does not change a person's mind. What does? Emotion and stories. The good book out there is by David McCraney called How Minds Change. And I've chatted or talked a little bit with David, and it pains me because data won't change a mind. It's narrative. Creativity to bring emotion to it. Here's a good example. How many of you like the movie WALL-E? How much dialogue is there in the first 38 minutes? I just gave it away. There's 0. I think it's 38 minutes without dialogue. Yep. That's it. Or they've got that singing part. How many of you get sucked in because of what he's doing with Eva and all that? Creativity Inc. If you've never read it, it's Ed Catmull's book about the founding of Pixar. Has anyone read it? Oh, get the extended version because it just came out. Was it this year or last year? Does anyone know where Ed Catmull went to school? University of Utah. Yeah, he's a Salt Lake guy, I believe. Best culture, best creativity, but the most powerful products, inventing, innovating, amazing culture. Right? Narrative matters. Number 5, and I think this one makes sense in the age of AI, resilience, flexibility, and agility, so the ability to pivot quick, right? It seems like there's new news all the time. We've talked about this, and I love it. Number 6 is curiosity and lifelong learning. Right? I've had my 3 C's of data literacy since maybe 2018-19. They're curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking. I love how a couple of them, well, and all of them are in here, and we'll show it. Curiosity. Who do you think the best data and AI detectives are? Any guesses? Who are the best data and AI detectives trying to figure things out?
Stay-at-home moms.
Well, that's one, and more power to them. Children. Children are absolutely data detectives. It just might not be with numbers. What does this do, Dad? What does that do? I want to look at this. I want to deal with that. We as adults suck at asking questions. Whether we think it or not, We get a job and we just march forward. Here's a good example. When I worked at American Express, not too long after the housing bubble crashed, that blew the company up, just like a lot of financial institutes, I inherited a report that was over 70 PowerPoint slides long, caused more stress in the world than it needed to because it went to the chief risk officer of the company. One time I broke all 70 plus slides down. There was like 100 plus charts into 6 total charts that the chief risk officer and every other leader it went to could view on their phone. My senior vice president said, just send that. I did. Do you think they ever asked me for the PowerPoint? Not once.
I'm surprised.
Oh, I loved it because that thing stressed me out.
I'm glad that it was better.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have to do it that way. I'm just surprised that somebody wasn't like,
No one.
where's my PowerPoint?
No one. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But all it took was trying something new. Questioning it. Curiosity. Okay? Number 7, leadership and social influence. Can we lead well with this? Number 8, which is interesting, is talent management. My day job deals in talent management. How many of you have heard about the skills world that we're living in now? Degrees don't matter as much. It's skills that matter, right? Number 9, which I think really dovetails into critical thinking, is analytical thinking. And then number 10 is environmental stewardship. How many have seen the pushback data centers are getting right now? Oh, it's heavy, right? And so, and for good reason, it destroys the environment. Let's be perfectly frank. Yeah. So when they said they wanted one here, it's like, no more. We don't have water, okay? So, but 6 of the 10, all human related. They wanted one, where was it? Eagle Mountain?
Facebook has one.
Facebook does, but maybe I was wrong. I know Phoenix pushed one, Bluffdale. Okay, so I had it right. So when I was asked before all this started, how do we position ourselves? It's engineered intelligence, that formula I have. Data and AI are going to be here. They're not going away. Bringing IQ, EQ, creativity, and things like that. I just finished a book by Jeffrey Davis called Tracking Wonder. I recommend every adult on the planet should do it because it gets you to be a kid again. It had me writing a poem about shoes with holes in it, right? It has you thinking at a TV and when was the last time you looked at a thin screen TV and were amazed by what you could do with it? Who remembers in the 90s waiting for a commercial to get over? And you didn't want to turn away because you didn't want to miss part of your show. And then if you missed it, when did you get to see it? Someday?
Maybe.
Now I can just stream Big Bang Theory over and over, and my wife hates it, right? So when we think about things, it's creativity, curiosity, critical thinking, bringing the human to AI that's going to help these things survive. Having guardrails, like you talked about with emotional intelligence. Having the right environmental stewardship. That's how we become more human in the age of AI. The models are there. Businesses and employees, because 90 to 99% of them are not technical in their proficiency, we have to be the ones who say, don't be. I don't care. Can you tell a good story? What if you become the storyteller that masters how to use and prompt AI to get things done? That's bringing humanity back to the tool. So, and this is what I travel speaking on. Left Peru, spoke yesterday on this, on that Beyond the Algorithm. Next week I'm in Brazil giving the same talk. Tomorrow I'm teaching at Nike. Thankfully it's virtually. I don't have to get on a plane. About storytelling. All the human, people are grasping for the human element right now. AI and digitization and everything has pushed people to a point that a lot of the pushback is here, and I'm all for it. So that's the presentation. So let's just do open Q&A now. What questions? Yeah, and then we'll go back there.
I'm gonna have to run soon, so I'll ask
Yeah.
a question now. I was curious. I work at a company where we have a tech team, very good at adapting AI, and then there's a operations team kind of handling claims, very resistant to AI. I think they want it, but also they don't trust it. So
Yeah.
that piece that you brought up of how the AI skills gap and how to actually encourage adoption. I'd love to get some more concrete suggestions.
Yeah, so one of the first things you'll want to create is number one, a lot of times when they push back at the trust, there's fear. You have to create a library of use case examples that help overcome misunderstanding around it. Number two, I would put a directed AI literacy program into the company. But you have to let people know that means we're not teaching you how to engineer them. We're not teaching machine learning. It's how do you get comfortable prompting it, more importantly, evaluating what the prompt gives you, and then making a decision with it. So I always, and then number three, and I call this the grandma effect, right? If you're trying to do it internally, it's harder than bringing an external speaker in, right? If I'm sitting here telling my kids to do something, they don't listen to me. But if grandpa says something, they'll do it.
It's super cool.
And it's the way it works. You bring someone, it doesn't have to be me, it could be anybody. An external speaker that could come in and say, look, we get there's timidity to this. That's fine. Let's talk about how we can use it and take baby steps to get there. I think a lot of people fear it because they think it's going to be one fell swoop. No, when you get a library of about 4 or 5 use cases that work, you can show them this is what we did, this is how it worked, and this is the outcome. Number two, you get a literacy program. And number three, bring in an outside voice to just teach about it. Not to push hard, but to just teach about it. Yeah.
So the first point, that change management, you talked about auditing. I don't know, I'm not familiar enough with that. So what does that look like?
Change management programs are big, and it doesn't require, and I'm going to be very vocal about this. I apologize if any of you work for a big consulting firm right now. Doesn't require spending millions and hiring them. Make AI build your change management program. There's your first tip. That's going to blow consulting firms up. But number two, change management is all about, okay, you build a solution. How do you roll it out internally so that people use it? You can't expect 100% adoption. You're never going to get it. But what if without a change management, you might get 20% adoption? Change management is what training needs to go into place. What impact does this tool have? It could displace not people, but processes they've been using. How do you make them comfortable that it's displacing them, right? Who do you want to create power users that then go out and be cheerleaders or evangelists for it? So there's different things in a change management program depending on an organization, on what learning needs to go into play, what impact does this have to their jobs so they understand it. This is the emotional intelligence side. You're able to read if it's going to make them upset. Good luck, right? So you have to figure out how to overcome those things. But change management is literally any new AI solution you've put in is a change. How are you going to manage that change so it's successful? And so there's different ways to do it. You don't need to go out and buy a book, anything like that. You could literally go into AI and say, this is the program we're building. This is what I want for the outcome. What would be a good change management program to put in place? And then you customize it. Within your L&D, HR can do it. You might be able to do it yourself. And you just roll it out in a very succinct, nice manner. If you just flood people with it, it's not going to work. Most companies flood. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think kind of building on the conversations we've had about like trust and guardrails.
Yeah.
So I work in healthcare, which is a very highly regulated.
100%.
Compliance is very important, and there's strict legal regimes around usage of data and code and those kinds of things. So in our organization, we've seen AI tools be fairly limited just from a legal perspective.
Yeah.
How do we navigate like legal regimes in that kind of situation? How the human element, the legal regime, the compliance element. How do we navigate that?
It's tough, right? And we're seeing, I think was it today, Vietnam just launched their own AI Act that matches the European Union AI Act, which Colorado mimicked, and that's going to impact. I mean, it's not going to stop. Part of the reason for that is, I mean, not to be too blunt, but Congress people don't know AI. So they're going to limit things a ton. And when you're talking healthcare, you're dealing with HIMSS data, all this data that PII is a big deal. And so obviously that's going to be a big deal. So I look for use cases versus, and number one, you want to try and stay up on it. So I would create an agent that sends you on a monthly basis. What are the latest healthcare legislation around AI? Just have it sent to your inbox. And then once a month, you could just go through and say, okay, nothing new, so on and so forth. Number two, I would then use AI to evaluate that and say, how can I operate safely within this guardrail? And say, this is what my team is doing. What are use cases that allow me to operate within these guardrails that are the legislation pieces? Number three is I'm always going to focus on use cases versus the tool, right? So I might look at it, could be cancer research, which is a little different because there's not a lot of PII in that. But I'm going to say, I want to see what AI could do to help solve X, Y, Z. And then, or I'm going to say, this is what I want to solve. Let me rephrase that. I want to solve X, Y, Z. Where can AI fit in compliance with the legislation? And I think that's the key. I remember years ago, I was in Arizona, this is like 2018, and it might have been the state of Arizona, where in the healthcare space, people latched onto it so much that they didn't share. And that's also not the answer, right? Because when you anonymize things and things like that, you're missing so many opportunities. So I'd say the final piece of it is the literacy piece. For a lot of people in healthcare, you latch on very quickly because they don't know how to understand the legislation when it comes to AI. And so when you increase literacy, you're increasing people's ability to understand yes, no. In fact, I didn't get in an argument with him today, but our vice president of compliance today, he was trying to figure out, do we deploy or are we a provider of AI? We obviously don't build our own AI, which is what a provider is in the European Union Act. And he's like, well, what about this? I'm like, we are not building our own AI. We deploy AI. And so that is different than, we have to help people understand that, because in his mind, he's compliance. He's trying to figure out the best way to do it. If he overdoes it, we've limited our ability. If we underdo it, then we're in trouble. So we balance it all out, which is tough. I mean, there's no good answer to that that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gave you some ideas,
No,
though.
that's really helpful. That's one of the things I wanted to get out of this talk.
Yeah.
Was, we've just seen, we've had a hard time finding those places where we can fit it in.
And that's why I say try not to start with it and try and fit it in. Think of a problem you're solving and then see where it can fit in. And I think that helps get, it might be really small,
Yeah.
but it's there.
I think it's better to move slow anyway.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. We are.
Yeah.
I want to be clear.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well, and you're not wrong.
Slowly and
Companies that have jumped on the AI wagon and said, we're going to lay people off this and that, how many of them have had to backtrack? Moving too fast with this is not the answer. Go ahead.
So, I mean, we all know this, and sometimes things don't get done without executive support.
Yep.
That's just the nature of things. Makes sense. It's
Yeah.
important to my boss's boss's boss. It's
Yeah.
important to me.
Yeah.
What have you found to be effective to get that executive support, to get that pod of people, that whatever?
Yeah, a lot of it went with that first question that said, how do I get people who are hesitant? Similar things for bosses. Number one, though, I think with executives, and I'm not a fearmongerer, but right now, if they don't do it, I don't necessarily fear, like I work for an enterprise. I don't fear our competitors. What do you think I fear? Any guesses? That one. New startups that can come in and wipe you out. So I gave my president a prompt he can use the other day. And it was every Monday, just prompt it and say, show me the latest AI startups in my industry that received funding and tell me how it can disrupt this line of business. Right? So that is the fear-mongering side, and it's real. Like these AI startups that are natively AI. I define it as AI native versus AI feature. Right? A lot of companies are putting AI features into place. That's not AI native. Startups that are starting now doing it right are AI native. That can blow processes up. And so that's one thing to bring up. It's not to put fear to them and say, look, right, we have to do something. And a lot of them know that. They just don't know what to do. So I go back to create a library of use cases. Here are use cases that can be done. Don't just go buy a tool. Here's 5 use cases. This is where AI fit in. This is what solved it. Number 2 is you've got to bring in someone to help them understand it a little more. Not have to, but that's an option. You want to create the change management and literacy piece. Because the moment they buy in and buy a tool, if you're not also upskilling people, they're going to get very frustrated very quickly and say, this just burned us. Why would I do it again? So in parallel, you're always upskilling so the deployments work. And in the data and AI space, this has been happening forever, right? Back in 2012, data scientist was what? The sexiest job of the 21st century. Companies went out and hired them. They all, not all of them, but a lot of them didn't get a lot done. Not because they weren't good, but executives had no idea what to do. And that's a similar thing here, is you have to help them understand. And by the way, when you put literacy programs in place, it better include executives. They have to increase their literacy around this. Yeah.
I've been seeing this, Morrow was saying like AI is gonna make our life better.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at past couple of months, this was stressed last couple of months in last 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
And
So how is like, so that's why the topic really interests me, where like being human in the world of AI is how to be sane, how to be human.
It's very tough because there are a lot of potentials, both good and bad. I think it depends where incentives go. Some companies, OpenAI, incentives maybe not going the way you want, but then you look at an Anthropic and the incentive is going the way you want. I think Google has done pretty good too. And so the nice thing is, I will say, in my studies, well, maybe I shouldn't say studies, but I think there is an undercurrent of enough pushback against the negative, hence the data center fights that are going on right now. There's enough push right now that I think if we continue on the path of pushing to make sure things have equality and things like that, we'll be in a good spot. It all comes down to me on incentives. What is the incentive of the company trying to do? That's why I love Anthropic. Dario left OpenAI, right? And so that's what I would say. And thankfully, everywhere I go and I speak on these things, people are buying it. Because the news is not what I would read. The news is awful, right? It's going to tell you the world's awful. If you travel and start talking to people, you see it's a lot better than the news is making it out, thankfully. But that's what I would say is we have to continue the push. We have to continue for the push of human, and that is resonating with people right now because AI fatigue is huge. People are tired of it. It's not going away, but they're tired of it. That is a difference between when the internet was here. I think that excited people. AI excited people for about a year or two. Now they're just, I don't want to hear it anymore. That's one of your biggest roadblocks in your company is that. So, yeah.
I don't know if this is a question, just maybe an observation. I feel like part of this human aspect is we're actually going to work with the other humans a lot more.
100%.
A lot of the work that we traditionally done, which has been just isolated, trying to figure things out, all that's going to be obfuscated away to a point, so that we can actually work with
And collaborate. And that's one of my hopes, right? I love poetry. I said it, right? I want to free my time up to be creative. I want the AI to do mundane tasks. By the way, the other thing I like to tell people is I want you to just take a day, block your calendar, and evaluate all of your work. And I'm willing to bet if companies did that, they would find a lot of work they don't have to do. But busy work makes people comfortable. It makes people uncomfortable when you take it away. So we have to fill it in with something. And that's creativity, collaboration. I did a Substack on collaboration, I think, 2 weeks ago. AI should bring together people to be able to share ideas, to innovate, and to do things anew, which I hope happens.